What's up everybody, KingGBL here, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a very fun team in the Great League, Triple Shadow, Quagsire, Dragonite and Charizard. The thought process behind this team is that we have Quagsire in the lead, which does really well into Dedenne, Steel types and all that kind of stuff, right? We have Dragonite on the safe swap, which will draw out Dunsparce, Bastiodon, and as you can see in this game 1, we just absolutely destroyed Dunsparce with superpower. Superpower's double super effective into Bastiodon and you can reach 2 of them. And actually, this is a winning matchup for Dragonite versus Azu these days as well. We just outpace this thing so heavily that Dragonite even reaches another one. Dragonite safe swap this season is absolutely amazing. It beats Togekiss in even energy. It's a really cool Pokemon. It's a Pokemon that's somewhat spicy if you don't like running hard meta. It's a little bit spicy, but it actually is really good now with Thunder Punch and Superpower, so highly recommend that. And of course, everybody's going on about Charizard. I think it's very good this season. I am running it with Ember because I want to kind of temper my weakness to fairies and stuff like that a little bit. And I just elite TM'd on Ember last season. I don't really want to TM it off, so that's the main reason we're using it here. This team right here, it's not really the most meta team, so I don't necessarily recommend spending all of your resources to get all of these Pokemon. But all 3 of these Pokemon individually are fantastic. Quagsire, very good into a meta where I think it's going to evolve into like Dedenne, Marowak, all that kind of stuff, right? It's very good into the Steel types, and it has good coverage with Stone Edge. Charizard is considered to be one of the top meta Pokemon this season, so if you are able to get yourself a Shadow Charizard, I highly recommend it. I do often get asked, can I use non-Shadow? I think you can, but you have to realize that it's a little bit different. Sometimes you'll have to no-shield certain things to kind of get more of an advantage out of it, and other times you won't quite be able to farm stuff down as easily as you would be able to. And of course, you might need to give it an extra shield just to farm something down, so completely different playstyle. Dragonite absolutely has to be Shadow in my opinion, and I think it is still available in the Team Rocket Grunts currently, the Dragon Grunt. It's in there with a few other different Pokemon. We absolutely one-shot the Bastiodon with Superpower. In comes Corviknight. I seen the Steel typing first, I should have went for the Thunder Punch, but that lands, does a lot of damage. We come into Charizard, and the opponent says, GG's, thanks for playing. I think they actually top left it as they hit the charge move here, or as I hit the charge move, so good games to that opponent there. As you can see guys, this team is just so dynamic, it's a super fun team. I do believe that if you're skillful enough, you could hit Legend with a team like this, but like I said, it's more for fun at this point in the season. Anyway, before we hop into the rest of the battles here, drop a like in the video, it's very much appreciated. Big thank you for all the support, man. The last couple of videos have done really well. Big shout out, big thank you. I am officially back uploading videos again this season, so yeah, I'm glad you guys are here, man. Big thank you, really appreciate it. If you enjoy my content and want to get it pushed out to more people, drop a like, drop a comment, let me know in the comment section where you guys are watching from. For those of you who are pretty new to this channel, I currently live in Japan and I'm from Northern Ireland. By all means, let me know in the comments where you're from here. So, the opponent has a Stinky McBinkerson. We draw it out with Dragonite. The really cool thing about the matchup with Dragonite now is you're able to reach 2 moves. We're going to commit to the farm down just before the opponent gets to the Buff Rock Slide, and back in comes the Gastrodon. 1 Aqua Tail, 1 Quick KO here. I am kind of thinking maybe it's 2 things that are weak to ground in the back, so we come on ahead and bring in Charizard. The opponent brings in Corviknight, and once again, it is just absolute curtains for the opponent. Good games well played. And in the next one we get a Charizard lead with Dragon Breath. It's a pretty neutralish lead. The opponent makes a really nice catch onto the Gastrodon, and we come into the Dragonite. This is basically fine. We can take a Body Slam. They're not really going to throw Water Pulse or Earth Power at this here, so what we're going to try to do is maybe CMP them on the next move. Now unfortunately, I was just perfectly at 10 turns. It's 10 for each of the moves, right? So I wanted to try and CMP this move, but I end up deciding to shield and farm all the way down. This does win CMP against Charizard. I wasn't quite sure if it did, but it normally does win that CMP time. They come in. This is perfect. We've got almost 3 Thunder Punches banged here. Thunder Punch number 1, the opponent will get off their most likely Air Cutter. We're going to get off the second move and then look to make a pivot into our own Charizard. With this team, the goal is always to set up Charizard, right? We get the shields down, we bring in the Quag here to try and get a CMP tie off. I think we do end up getting the CMP tie, which will look to almost take out the non-Shadow Charizard, and at that point, I think we'll be in a hopefully decent spot where Charizard can maybe do something in the back. The opponent brings in a Shadow Credilli. Are they able to acid me the whole way down? If they can, they're going to come out with a Rock Tomb, and that's going to be curtains for me, unfortunately. I go for Aqua Tail number 1. We just about reached Aqua Tail number 2, and I do believe that the opponent went for a CMP tie right here, which basically means all the opponent's energy's gone. I don't have to worry about it now, and the funny thing is, Charizard, he's just sitting on the bench this game. We bring in Dragonite. We're going to farm everything down. Charizard will not be seen this game, and with that said, let's hop on into the next battle here. In the next battle here, we did get a Charge Bug lead, which is relatively neutral, probably leaning positive towards Quagsire in that matchup. They have access to buffed Volt Switch this season, which does 2 more damage, which probably makes that matchup a little bit better for them. The opponent here is Ice Punch. Hypno is just a bag of tricks, it just as it looks like, right? It is a bag of tricks. It's got the Ice Punch here, so I thought maybe we can bring in Charizard. They might have a different move. But to my surprise here, and to my dismay, they go for Thunder Punch. That doesn't quite take out the Charizard, thankfully, and we were able to get off a Blast Burn. That's fantastic, we take it out. The opponent comes in and gets a pretty decent farm here. Now the bad thing is, my Quagsire is getting quite low. The Volt Switches and the Discharges are neutral against Dragonite, so even though only neutral, like I said, Dragonite is very glassy generally speaking, so we do want to try to somewhat take care of this if we can. It's a 4-turn move, we go for 1 for good timing on the Aqua Tail here. The opponent actually calls it, could have been a Stone Edge, so the opponent's putting it on their last Pokemon. I catch the X-Scissor here, I do 2 mud shots, swap out, catch it with the Dragonite, and the opponent brings in a Lucario. Looks like they're going to force palm me all the way down. This is not great. This is a free turn move, we need to do to and fro, and hopefully we can just about reach it. It looks like I'm going to probably get KO'd by either 2 or 3 force palms. 1, 2, we actually just about make that move. Dragonite is so much better this season with this. And we come in, we've got the Aqua Tail banged. I throw immediately because I don't want to take any damage from the Force Palm, which would leave me really low. The opponent comes in to Charge Bug, it's a race, we do just about make the move. The opponent was back on their free cycle again, so thankfully we're able to take that match. Good games well played to that opponent there. So in the next one we've got a Caesar lead. Pretty bad for Dragonite probably, pretty neutral for Quag. They have to build all the way up to a Trailblaze to threaten a one-shot, and we're of course able to go for Aqua Tails here on 5 and then 4 for the second one. Pretty decent matchup for Quagsire. I do respect the move, knowing it probably will be a Night/Bait, but you sort of do have to respect it. At this stage guys, I'm going to set up the Charizard. I'm not really going to shield this, and I'm pretty happy to let this go. The good thing is here, I think the opponent will still be forced to throw again, so this is quite nice. They go for a catch onto Azu, and we immediately bring in Dragonite. Bringing in Dragonite as an answer to Azu is absolutely insane. Bang! Thunder Punch number 1. It does more than 50% to the Azu. That's all you need. You just need to be able to 2-shot it, because we get there in 10 turns. It takes them 15 turns to get to an Ice Beam. We farm all the way back up to the opponent's next Ice Beam. These are resisted bubbles. Whenever you're taking resisted fast moves, you always want to try to maximize your energy. In comes Bastiodon. We're going to go for the big superpower. This does about 70% of them. I've got the Aqua Tail banked once again, which is always a good thing to have. We go for Aqua Tail, puts them on 1 HP, and the opponent brings back in Caesar. Little does Caesar know there are worse nightmares waiting in the back for them. Charizard comes in. We can comfortably take a move. The Bastiodon's on 1 HP. And we're going to Ember everything down at this point. Good games well played. Isn't that incredible, guys, that our Dragonite's doing so well against one of its traditional worst counters? Speaking of bad counters here, this thing completely obliterates my team. So they get to Swifts in 9 here, and I think maybe it's 12 for the Octazooka, I can't quite remember. We go for Stone Edge here. I was thinking to myself, the opponent's obviously going to call this. They actually let it go. That's huge for me. That's absolutely huge. I'm happy to let this go, and basically just hope they don't have an answer to flying in the back. We come into Dragonite, farm it all the way down. We don't even take a Dragon Breath, and the opponent comes into a Rangaroo. I'm going to look to go for Chip and Dip here. Superpower is the harder hitting move in this situation, because they're normal and psychic. Charizard comes in. The pacing for this Pokemon will have improved. They did increase Confusion's energy generation this season. They do reach another move. I'm really hoping it's free, 2 and then free. That way I should be able to outpace to 1 bait and 1 blast burn. I go for the bait. I really need the opponent to shield this. The opponent to shield. We go for 1 and blast burn. And now we have a chance in this game. We've got a Charizard. We've got a relatively healthy Dragonite, and we'll see what comes in. The opponent comes in here to the Crustle. I come into the Dragonite, force the opponent to throw energy. We CMP them on the superpower, and this is going to be absolute curtains. That puts them on 1 HP. The opponent goes for the massive rock, which Crustle got access to this season. Once again, guys, Dragonite, Charizard, able to sweep the backline against the unlikeliest of opponents, things that you think that you really shouldn't beat. The opponent quits the app, probably for that exact reason, and that's good games well played. So do let me know, guys, what do you think of Dragonite this season? What do you think of Charizard? I know Charizard's very popular at the minute. In the next battle we have a Machamp. Cross Chops don't do too much damage, so I'm happy to actually CMP this Cross Chop and then look to swap into Dragonite. The opponent goes for a Dynamic Punch. It does a lot of damage to me. Shiny Shadow Machamp absolutely cooking me here. They take the move, surprisingly. Actually, it's not Shadow. And they come into Blastoise. This is horrible for Dragonite. We take super effective rollouts. Or is this really horrible? The opponent shields the first Thunder Punch. At this point, I'm starting to think and I'm starting to realize these rollouts aren't really doing that much damage. Look at them, they're adding up, of course, but my pacing is just so good. It takes them 12 turns to a Hydro, and then 9 for the rest of them. With my 10-10-10, I should be able to get there before they get there, especially with a slight energy lead. We do actually just take out the Blastoise with Dragonite. which again, it's just ridiculous. It should not be happening. The opponent comes into Dusknoir, we bring in Charizard here. Now the opponent is on Hex and they're non-Shadow, so we can take this move pretty comfortably. The opponent does attempt to go for a catch here. We farm them a champ up a little bit, make sure that we're going to outpace the Dusknoir. I believe they're only one off the next move. With that extra bit of farm, we're one off the move as well. We outpace the opponent by 1 turn. Will this one-shot them? With the boost, absolutely. I think it might have even one-shot them without the boost, but in any case, good games. We get a very awkward lead in the next battle here. Ninetales. Ninetales is a very interesting Pokemon this season. If you think about the types of Pokemon which are good now, Togekiss, Charizard even. Ember is not great for this, of course. Altaria is all the dragons. I feel like Ninetales is definitely back in a big way and it could possibly be really good. Weller Ball got buffed this season, so Ninetales definitely could be back with Weller Ball and Psyshock. The opponent lets the move go. I think they might have anticipated that I would bait them twice and try to land a Stone Edge, which of course would not be great for them. In comes Quag. I even make another move. And instead of letting them farm up on me here and get off a Stone Edge, I decide to come in with the Dragonite immediately. The hilarious thing about this is, they chip me and then bring in Blastoise. Again, like, this is supposed to be an answer to Flyers, but with Dragonite's coverage now, it just isn't. Thunder Punch comes in, of course the opponent will give it a shield, and we get off the second one. Now, we'll see how much a Thunder Punch actually does. Is this threatening to them? Bang! It gets them down to very, very low HP. At that point, Dragonite's done its job here. They go for Skull Bash. We come into Charizard, get off several Embers, and this is always the position we want to be in with Charizard. We've set it up with energy, the opponent just completely top lefts, and that's good games well played. So, Charizard lead again, they swap straight out into Togekiss. Now, I played out this battle. If you take an Aura Sphere, you cannot reach 2 Stone Edges, right? So the only way I can make 2 is by baiting once and then going for the second one. So if you ever get into this situation, that's kind of what you have to do. We don't have a direct answer to Togekiss up energy. What you could try to do is go for 1 Stone Edge and then swap into Dragonite, just to basically get the shield advantage right, and then you can outpace it with Thunder Punches. That is another option as well. I decide to go for the setup of Charizard. They go for the double Psyshock here. I'm shielding everything at this point, of course. Psyshock number 2 comes through. I'm expecting the opponent to swap out. They come into Charizard, and I go for an Air Cutter here. Since I'm Shadow, I probably win CMP. I probably should have went for this move immediately, as to not take extra damage here. But I hope that we can maybe farm up a little bit extra. The opponent ends up getting the boost. The Embers are chunking. I have to get rid of this thing. And we're 2 off a Blast Burn, and we're at the Air Cutter. The opponent comes into Dunsparce. How much damage is this going to do? I boosted. This is the amazing thing about Charizard with Air Cutter. We can boost up, do so much damage, farm this all the way down with Dragonite. And once again, guys, Dragonite is actually a counter to Togekiss. Thunder Punches do so much damage to it. We take it out from that HP, and that's good games well played. As I mentioned in the last video and on stream a few times, what I really like about this season is the flexibility, guys. We're able to do things that ordinarily wouldn't be happening, and to me that just makes the game so much more fun. I'm very, very happy with this season so far. Hopefully with the community days and whatever more updates they decide to do before sort of this time next year, I hope they never make it like last season, because last season to me was just super, super RPS. Wasn't a huge fan of it at all. With this team we played 22 battles, we won 12, so definitely a little bit positive. Very tricky team, but I do think it's a very fun one, and if you're looking for something fun to try out, by all means give it a go and let me know how it goes. Or maybe you can make adjustments, right? Instead of Charizard, you could use Togekiss. I did use a Unova Stunfisk instead of Quag. Didn't really work out super well for me. You could go something like Gastrodon, Dragonite, and Togekiss, right? Gastrodon just being an RPS machine, able to really just take down those matchups where it needs to take them down. Quagsire's a little bit more techy and requires a little bit more energy management, so that's always an option. Instead of Charizard, you could try Togekiss, use the Dragonite to draw out like Dedenne. Like, one superpower does like 50% to Dedenne anyway, and they have to throw a move unless they want to get super low, and anyway you're going to be able to mud slap them down afterwards and not really take too much damage with like a Gastrodon. So definitely consider that. Very fun team. Maybe you should use a few different Pokemon to make it work better, but for me this was super fun. Thank you everybody, hope you enjoyed the video. Smash a like, subscribe, and like I said, drop some comments down below, it really helps out. Very much appreciate all the support, guys. Big thank you, much love, God bless all of you, man. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you all next time.